As the sun sets and twilight falls, Suyu sits cross-legged in a secluded spot. The surrounding spiritual energy is dense, converging into his dantian. The jade bead and dantian rotate like two vortices, absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy. Suyu has just consumed the corpse of a late-stage first-level monster, and his dantian is saturated, ready to advance at any moment. Without hesitation, Suyu swallows the Ling Grass he just obtained to accelerate his cultivation. In just a short while, the dantian reaches its peak and cannot accommodate any more spiritual energy. Without a moment's delay, Suyu begins to control the spiritual energy within his body, impacting the barrier in his dantian. After all, the dantian cannot withstand such an abundance of spiritual energy. It can only be expanded by breaking through the barrier. The next moment, a faint cracking sound is heard. Crack! A large amount of spiritual energy instantly surges into the dantian. An unprecedented power courses through his limbs, and Suyu clenches his fists, a satisfied smile appearing on his face. Who would have thought that Suyu, starting from the 6th level of the Condensation Realm, could reach the 9th level of the Condensation Realm in less than 2 days? This rate of advancement is probably unmatched by few in the entire Silver Moon Empire. After all, each level is a mountain. Breaking through each level requires the reaccumulation of spiritual energy. Normally, breaking through a level in 2 months is considered a genius, but Suyu broke through 3 levels in just 2 days. Suyu stands up, a confident curve on his lips, muttering to himself. At this rate of advancement, it will probably take less than a year to complete my revenge and sweep the Zhang family. As he speaks, a cold light flashes in his eyes and disappears. As night falls and the silver moon hangs in the sky, Suyu does not linger, quickly leaving the 10,000 Beast Mountains and returning to Canglan City. The journey is smooth, and he returns to the courtyard without any obstacles. Su Linger has already prepared dinner, waiting for Suyu to return and eat together. After a few words of greeting, they start eating. After dinner, Suyu does not rest immediately but sits cross-legged on the bed, activating his dantian and jade bead to absorb spiritual energy and stabilize his realm. As the jade bead absorbs spiritual energy, it also channels the same amount of spiritual energy to the dantian, keeping the jade bead full of spiritual energy. This is like Suyu's second dantian, always ready to provide spiritual energy to the dantian. At critical moments, it may be a crucial factor in turning the tide. The night passes quietly. The next morning, there is only 1 day left before the competition begins. Suyu does not go to the 10,000 Beast Mountains but chooses to stay in the courtyard, studying sword techniques and the swift shadow step. Yesterday, watching Zhang Xiaoyuan practice martial techniques, he seemed to gain some insights, touching the threshold. Today, he must thoroughly study it. If he can master it and perform spectacularly on the arena, he will surely be able to join the Crimson Sky sect as a disciple. At that time, even if the Zhang family suspects the origin of the martial techniques, they will not dare to do anything to him. After all, a disciple of the Crimson Sky sect is not someone a small family like the Zhang family can provoke. Whoosh! A sword light flashes. The sharp energy lingers, refusing to dissipate. The next moment, the sword returns to its sheath, and Suyu stands in place, replaying the action of drawing the sword and the flow of energy in his mind. Retain the essence and discard the dross. He recalls the sword strike emitted by Zhang Xiaoyuan. He can't help but sigh. There is still a gap. Although he has a relatively early understanding of spiritual energy, he has never practiced martial techniques, only using ordinary sword techniques. Martial techniques are too precious. Even the lowest level Earth rank low martial technique costs nearly 100 silver taels. For an ordinary beast hunter, there is simply no money to buy them. Therefore, Suyu has never practiced martial techniques over the years. He doesn't even own a single sharp sword. The sharp swords used in battles with monsters were all provided by the Zhang family. After being expelled from the family, the swords were naturally left behind. If it weren't for killing Zhang Yui, he would probably have no weapon at all. However, Zhang Yui, being just an elder's disciple, has average talent, and there are not many useful items in his storage ring. The storage ring confiscated from Zhang Xiaoyuan yesterday, on the other hand, is much richer. Nearly 1,000 silver taels, several high-quality swords, and most importantly, 10 low-grade spirit stones. Spirit stones are extremely precious, containing dense spiritual energy for martial artists to absorb, accelerating their cultivation. Spirit stones are classified into 3 levels: low-grade spirit stones, mid-grade spirit stones, and high-grade spirit stones. 1 low-grade spirit stone is equivalent to 100 silver taels, 10 gold taels. This makes Suyu marvel at the strength of the Zhang family, willing to expend such a huge amount of resources for a talented disciple. Whoosh! The sword is drawn, the momentum stronger, the sharp energy more intense, and the killing power greater. Seeing this, a smile appears on Suyu's lips, and he mutters, "Finally, some progress." According to the martial technique records, once fully proficient, the sword is like a thunderbolt, extremely dominant. Suyu has only grasped the basics so far. However, just as Suyu is diligently practicing martial techniques in the courtyard, Canglan City is in an uproar. The Zhang family's #1 genius, Zhang Xiaoyuan, died in the 10,000 Beast Mountains. When found, his body had been dismembered by monsters, severely mutilated. Zhang Yui, the son of the Zhang family's second elder, died in the mouth of a red slaughter wolf, and the 5 beast hunters guarding him were all devoured by the wolf pack. The Zhang family's young master has been missing for a day, with no news. The 5 beast hunters are completely unaware of his whereabouts. Yang Heikong, the head of the Zhang family, is furious and dispatches the entire Zhang family's young guards to investigate the whereabouts of Zhang Wenbin and the cause of death of the 2 core disciples. On the surface, he was devoured by a beast, but it cannot be ruled out that someone killed him and threw him into the beast herd. Among the suspects, the Wang family is the most likely, for no one in Canglan City dares to oppose the Zhang family, except for the equally powerful Wang family. The first prodigy, Zhang Xiaoyuan, died, and it is highly possible that the Wang family, fearing the loss of the Kixio sect's quota, secretly killed him. Therefore, the Zhang family sent a large number of people to closely monitor the Wang family, with basically every Wang family disciple being followed and investigated when they leave the residence. For a time, Canglan City was filled with undercurrents, and a heavy atmosphere enveloped the entire city. However, Suyu, the instigator of all this, remained calmly in his courtyard, practicing martial arts. Suyu, whose dantian was shattered, naturally would not be suspected, but unbeknownst to them, Suyu had already recovered his dantian and his strength had greatly increased. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning, Canglan city was bustling with people, all heading towards the city center. In the center of Canglan city, a 10-jang wide and long platform was revealed, already surrounded by a crowd, with people packed tightly together, the noise continuous and unceasing. Some confused martial artists voiced their doubts. Why are there so many people so early in the morning? What's going on? You don't know? One of the three major sects of the imperial dynasty, the Kixio sect, is coming to our Canglan city to select disciples. The Zhang and Wang families are competing, and the winner will become the disciple of Canglan city. That's impossible. Our Canglan city is so remote. How could the Kixio sect possibly be interested? Exactly. We haven't heard of any sect coming to Canglan city to recruit disciples in the past few years. Absolutely true. The two major families have already released the news. If you don't believe it, just wait here. The two families will be here soon. In the crowd, Suyu and Su Linger, dressed in coarse linen clothes, stood quietly. Surrounded by the bustling crowd, no one paid attention to them. Brother, are you really going to participate in the competition? Su Linger asked, her eyes wide open, speaking softly. Suyu nodded firmly and then said, by joining such a major force as the Kixio sect, we will make the Zhang family fear us, and we can repay the humiliation we endured back then. After finishing, a glint of determination flashed in his eyes. He would never forget the solemn judgment in the Zhang family's meeting hall, a thorn deeply embedded in his heart. Hearing this, Su Linger fell silent, standing quietly by Suyu's side, her young face showing a determined look. No matter what her brother did, she would support him. At this moment, a voice reached Suyu's ears. The Zhang family is here. The Zhang family is here. There was a brief silence in the crowd, and everyone turned their gaze. The crowd automatically cleared a wide path. Zhang Hao, the head of the Zhang family, stood at the front, his face grim and unsmiling. In recent days, the loss of core disciples had put considerable pressure on the family. If they couldn't quickly find out what happened to Zhang Wenbin, it might cause panic among the lower-ranking disciples. Zhang Yui and Zhang Shaoyuan could be claimed to have been killed by beasts, but there was no trace of Zhang Wenbin's body, which was truly suspicious. On both sides, the Zhang family elders lined up, their faces solemn and displeased. The disciples quickly brought chairs, and the Zhang family's high-ranking members took their seats one by one. No one spoke, and a heavy atmosphere spread, making many people in the audience dare not speak freely, only whispering. Suyu looked at the familiar faces of the Zhang family, his fists clenching involuntarily, his anger rising. Suddenly, a small, cool hand grasped his fist. Looking down, he saw Su Linger's delicate hand on his fist, her face showing a radiant smile. Suyu's anger dissipated significantly, and after giving a meaningful look at several Zhang family elders, he shifted his gaze. At this moment, another voice reached his ears. The Wang family is here. The Wang family is here. The crowd turned their gaze again. The crowd automatically moved to the sides, making a clear space. Wang Qizing, the head of the Wang family, stood at the front, his face beaming, his steps steady, entering the area. In recent days, hearing about the incidents in the Zhang family, his mood had greatly improved. After all, seeing his mortal enemy in trouble was a great pleasure. Moreover, with Zhang Shaoyuan, the most capable of the Zhang family's younger generation, dead, Wang Fenglan was sure to secure the top spot. If a disciple of the Kixio sect came from their Wang family, then one person getting the Dao, all the chickens and dogs ascending to heaven. They would definitely overshadow the Zhang family. How could they not be happy? Even the many elders behind also had smiles on their faces, their eyes gleaming, their steps unhurried, entering the area and taking their seats. Seeing Wen Qixing enter, Zhang Hao's face became even grimmer, his eyes seemingly about to burst into flames. Oh, why does the head of the Zhang family look so unhappy? Have you encountered some troubles? Wen Qixing, seeing Zhang Hao's grim face, felt even more delighted and couldn't help but tease. Hearing this, Zhang Hao exploded like a bomb, gritting his teeth. Wen Qixing, you play your cards well. Ah! Seeing this, a smile appeared on Wen Qixing's face, and he innocently said, Head of the Zhang family, I don't understand what you mean by that. Wen Qixing naturally knew about the Zhang family's loss of 3 core disciples, and saying these words was just to irritate the Zhang family. Zhang Hao's face showed a sinister smile as he said sharply, Nothing, just make sure your disciples are careful in the coming days. The beasts in the 10,000 Beast Mountains are very powerful.